Tonight on Channel 6 News Weekend Edition, disaster in Franklin. A community in shock after a tornado rips through the town. Our crews are on the ground. Then, 6 years after a plant explosion claimed the lives of 15 people, a new memorial honors their memory. And family and friends say their final goodbyes to a Killeen Elementary student whose life was taken much too soon. Channel 6 News Weekend Edition starts right now.
I had to cross the tracks and seeing everything just tore up. I was like, oh Lord, I hope my mom's okay.
Again, I say thank you to everyone who has volunteered, who has come out to help us, and we'll come back out of this.
A community rebuilding after a massive EF3 tornado ripped through Franklin, leaving destruction and devastation in its wake. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Imani Payne. The Robertson County Sheriff calls the tornado damage the worst he's seen in 23 years. Winds reached 140 miles per hour and few buildings were left standing. Channel 6's Cole Johnson got an update from officials on where things stand now. He joins us now live with the details. Cole.
Imani, as we heard from the officials, the Robertson County Courthouse here, we heard from the officials. They were giving updates on what their plan is moving forward and how they're going to bring the town back together. Right now, we do know that over a dozen people were injured in this case, but thankfully there were no fatalities. There were over 20 structures damaged, so that's either houses or buildings, and right now 4,000 people are without power, and people can expect to experience that for the next 48 to 72 hours. Now, we told you in one of our earlier newscasts that the entire city was under a curfew. That has changed. It's now the south side of 79. No one should go into that location until 7 a.m. Now, if you are in that area, you are asked to leave, go to a family member's or go to the Baptist church. That is where a shelter has been set up for those that are victims of this storm. The south side is also under a boil order, so do not use that water without boiling it first. And now we have some information for those of you that might be needing something else. So if you need life-saving medications, you're supposed to call the Sheriff's Office Dispatch. Now, a lot of people have been coming forward to volunteer. They are a bit overwhelmed with the amount of people that have been coming out. So contact the local Red Cross or the Salvation Army. They will contact you if they need help. Now, donations, there's also been a lot of help with that. There are a lot of clothes and food that have come forward with the donations, and they have more than they can manage. But if you would like to donate money, you can also reach out to the Red Cross or the Salvation Army. If you need fuel, you're supposed to go to the Loves in Hearn, excuse me. It's the closest place to the area. And finally, if you have animals, you're supposed to take them to the Ag Extension Office, the 4-H barn. It's about a mile outside of Franklin. Call ahead first before dropping off your pets. Now, they are saying they're going to have people on the south side of town working throughout the night and watching over the area.
We'll have the police department out there protecting lives and property. So don't worry about your property. Don't worry about anything else. So I have officers working 24 hours a day.
When I got into town, it's just, it'll rip you apart. It's just, I ain't never seen anything like it. And not here. It doesn't happen here, but it did today.
Tomorrow morning, there's going to be a press conference here at 8 a.m. We're going to be getting more information from officials and updates on how the town is coming back together and piecing together after this tragedy. We're reporting live tonight in Franklin. Cole Johnson, Channel 6 News.
All right, thank you, Cole. Stay safe. 3,500 people in Franklin are still without power tonight after that tornado hit the small Central Texas town. Channel 6's Jasmine Caldwell was there on the ground and spoke to people having to start over from scratch.
Damage and destruction blankets the city of Franklin after a tornado ripped through this morning.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. You do what you can. We've walked in here to see if we could help anybody, do anything.
First responders from all over Central Texas raced here to help those who may have needed medical assistance. Officials in Robertson County say no one died as a result of the tornado, but a few people were injured. Robert Burton says he's thankful to be alive after a double-wide trailer slammed into his home.
It just sounded like a big boom and enough to startle me. And when I got up, then I heard all the other stuff because I really didn't hear anything until I woke up. I seen my window break in. It must have been when the tree fell and it hit the glass and broke it in.
For the rest of the afternoon, volunteers helped residents to clean up what was left. Now the focus for many is how to move forward.
I saw so many people lose their homes, and you know, they got to come back from that. I mean, nobody lost their lives, thank God, but you know, losing all of your stuff, I mean, I know it's hard for them, and I feel sorry for them.
First Baptist Church is open to those who lost their home and don't have a place to sleep tonight. Southside residents are on a mandatory curfew until 7 a.m. One Franklin woman and her grandchildren survived the tornado while hiding out in a hallway. And while the tornado wiped out much of her community and damaged her home, she just feels lucky to still be alive. Brett Buffington reports.
It's just horrible.
In Franklin, Texas,
Marilyn was my girlfriend. Her house is destroyed.
it's like everyone
Pamela Darnell and Bobby Joe Darnell, their house was completely destroyed.
knows their neighbor. So in the devastation left behind this morning, knowing not one neighbor was taken,
God had to be in the plan. I know he had to be in the plan.
makes the mess left behind somewhat bearable. It's now confirmed a tornado ripped through this town of just a little more than 1,500 people, scattering this neighborhood in seconds.
And it happened so quick, I didn't have time to get scared until it was over.
Roger Ann Gray with her 4 grandsons safe in this hallway while her home was ripped apart.
Over there is part of my garage. My front porch, the awning out over that house to the front porch, is in my neighbor's yard.
Next door, the tornado tore the house apart. Across the street, it leveled houses. The sheriff says it's the worst damage he's seen here.
It's just devastating. The homes, the trees, and the damage altogether. It's just devastating.
It will be months of cleanup, but in the area spared, the power is expected to be back on tonight. In the path left behind from this storm, there is perspective.
People saying, oh, your house is gone, this is gone, that is gone. I don't care, I'm still walking around here. I thank God that nothing happened to my grandchildren. That's what I think. Most of all, I think.
Now here is an overhead look at the sheer devastation. You can't help but notice the widespread damage across that area. Many of the buildings in that town, as you can see, are just completely wiped out. Now to find more pictures and the latest updates, just download the KCEN app in your app store. And as those images started to pop up on social media, there were also some stories that frightened a lot of people, but were any of them true? The first post claims that the tiger enclosure at the Franklin drive-thru safari had been damaged by the tornado. The post has since been deleted from Facebook. We called the safari and they tell us they don't even have tigers because it's a petting zoo. So we can verify that that is false. The second post allegedly shows a large twister that's supposed to be the Franklin tornado. However, the National Weather Service says that this is not a picture of the tornado, stating that spotters reported it was entirely rain-wrapped. So we can also verify that to be false as well. If you have something you'd like us to verify, send us an email at verify@kcentv.com. And other storms across Texas have left behind devastation as well. 2 tornadoes hit near Alto, Texas within 90 minutes of each other. 2 children ages 3 and 8 were killed when a tree fell on the vehicle they were traveling in Angelina, Texas. A devastating picture there. We do know that the parents did survive. Widespread damage and multiple other injuries were also reported in that area, many still in disbelief.
It demolished the house. I mean, demolished this house, the next house, the next house. There's about 4 houses down on Fender, and every last one of them demolished. I mean, massacre. Massacre.
He goes on to say the community is supporting each other and plans to help all of their neighbors rebuild. Now we want to get right over to meteorologist Bill Hecky, who is standing by in our weather center with the very latest. Bill.
Well, Imani, we have all that left is wind. Now we've got a cold northwest wind, counterclockwise circulation on that low, bringing that cold air down from the northwest, 47 already at Temple. And Waco is in at 45, still a very gusty winds. We're going to be dropping it down tonight, right on down to the low 40s, and then tomorrow we'll warm in the 60s. We'll come back and look at this system in just a little bit. Imani.
All right, thanks, Bill. The rain didn't cancel the dedication of a long-awaited memorial for the 15 people killed in the West Fertilizer plant explosion back in 2013. Curtis Quillen shows us how this ceremony, 2.5 years in the making, is a sign of healing in the town.
Every single day across our country, men and women leave their homes and their families so that they might save the lives of people they've never met.
It's been 6 years since time stood still.
It's kind of like the final chapter of a very long story, and this brings it to a good ending, if you will.
Saturday, 2.5 years after it started, the Fallen Heroes Memorial in West is dedicated to the 15 lives lost on April 17th, 2013. Among those, Joey Pushtovsky, whose dad was one of those who worked on making the memorial a reality.
Oh, I'm happy to be a part of it, and as I said, there was a lot of people put a lot of effort into it.
It never ceases to amaze me to see the resilience of this community, the way this community has responded to one of the most horrific tragedies to ever hit the state of Texas.
And so as rain falls on the memorial, which will share its story, a story joined by a single red rose 6 years later, this community comes together one more time, joining hands to remember, celebrate, and with the governor, move forward.
And I tell you, West is better today than it's ever been.
I'm hoping that that folks don't think of West as the place that had a disaster, but instead we are the place that recovered well.
Recovered and healed. In West, Curtis Quillen, Channel 6 News.
The memorial is located across from the West City Park on Still Meadow Road. Well, still to come on Channel 6 News at 10, family and friends say their final goodbyes to a Killeen Elementary student whose life was taken too soon by meningitis. Plus the latest on the condition of a Rockdale firefighter who was hit by a drunk driver last night. Those stories next. Stick with us.